one of the most hyped up guns I've seen on the internet since, well, the Hudson H9, even the Alien, which, by the way, I do actually have on pre-order. So that should be here as soon as they are released to the public. This is the Archon Type B. I honestly don't know too terribly much about these, other than the fact that I handled it and had to have it. And it was one of those, you know, I got the phone call of, Sean, you need to get down here right now. We have 2 of these in stock. You know, I bought one. I'm holding one aside for you, but I'm only holding it for like 30 minutes because it's going to be out the door any second. People have been calling us all week asking us if we have them, and we just got these 2 in, and these are probably going to be the only 2 we get for the next few months. Do you want one? I was like, yes. Sign me up. Even sight unseen. It was one of those, I heard about it, I saw pictures of it, hadn't seen it in person. Have not seen this one in person. You guys are seeing it with me for the first time. And as always, you guys, these are my guns. I pay my own money for them. I don't get any special deals other than Blue Label pricing. Though on this one, I actually paid the same amount you guys are going to. The map pricing on this gun is set by the manufacturer, and dealers can't sell it for less than what the map is. So I got map pricing on it. You guys may be paying more just because of the high demand. But so this is the outside of the box. Archon Firearms, designed for Archon Firearms by Maltera in the USA. Cool. As far as I know, this is a German design gun, but I could be wrong. Very plush and firm. Actually, it's thicker. Carrying case, it's reminiscent of the 509 and the FNX 45. Cool detail to pretty much everything on the outside so far already. And again, you guys, that's one of those things that's like, if it has a cool exterior and they spend a lot of money on packaging, are you really getting a whole lot for your money for what's inside the case? We shall find out. So this is actually a waterproof zipper. It's rubberized. Very reminiscent of some of my dry suits, actually. And for those of you who didn't know, I'm actually a certified Tech 2 diver. So straight into it. Type B. Your obligatory 10 pages of warnings. If you point this gun at anything that you don't intend to kill, you're an idiot. So, full color photos, printed on premium 12-pound letter style. I don't actually know what, it's thick paper. Quality manual. One that I could actually see staying around for a little while. Disassembly, let me see if I can figure that out on my own. Actually, I think that was showing us how to change the mag release to be ambi. Cool. So there's the manual. We get Arsenal Firearms. Not sure if that's different from Archon, maybe it's their parent company. A silver Sharpie. Not like I don't need more ink on my hands, right? Okay, that's, I'm not sure what that's for. Okay. Noteworthy that this is actually the coolest cable lock I've ever seen. This one actually shows the cable through a translucent smoke black sheath. I have no intentions of ever using it. It's probably just going to stay in this box, but hey, you know, if they're going to give you a cable lock, kudos on them for making it cool. And again, that comes down to, are you paying for that? And they also give us 3 15-round mags, because I'm going to assume there isn't one in the gun. Though I could be wrong. Oh, we get 4 mags. Always a fan of that. Hell yeah. So we get a Heine style serrated black rear sight. There is no tritium lamp in there, which is kind of a bummer. And a fiber optic front. Again, not tritium, kind of a bummer. Most guns that are around the $900 price point, you know, typically come with night sights. Not that huge of a deal, but you know, one of those could have been cooler. But again, I'm not dinging it too much for that. The magazine doesn't look like, I don't know, there's a bit of gap going on. Doesn't really bug me, but might bug some of you. It's just one of those fit and finish things, and it is seated all the way. Try another mag just to make sure it's not just that one that was being wonky. There is a gap in the base plate. Not a big deal for me, but could be a consideration for some of you guys who are really picky about fit and finish. Mags definitely drop free and very assertively, which I like. I'm just going to set that there. So no mag. And yep, I'm even safety checking a weapon that's brand new. So the trigger paddle is aluminum. You can see that it rocks on a pivot, so it does have a trigger safety, reminiscent of, I'm going to say it's closer to an M&P than it is a Glock, but same concept. And for what it's worth, I hate the M&P triggers. Anything that has a bow in the center of something that I'm pushing against, not a fan. I do really like, and I'm not tracing my face for those of you who are wondering, or gonna flame me on it. I do really like the fact that there isn't serrations to chew up your finger, and when it is in the firing position, it is a very flat trigger. So, safety checking. So take up, this first part is super soft, and then has a bit of mush that's reminiscent of a Glock, and I'm just pulling. I'm gonna feel like an idiot if I didn't charge the weapon. Ooh, okay. I'll just say right now, night sights be damned, I don't care anymore. And reset. So that little bit of creep, right? Okay, so take up, squish, wall, break. And then on the reset, there's a bit of mush right there. In my experience, that goes away with shooting. So when I squeeze again, you'll see a bit of mush before I hit that wall and break. If it doesn't go away, I'll let you guys know, but that's actually really typical of newer triggers. You can see right there, as we take up the trigger safety slack, that's what's actually allowing the trigger to be pressed rearwards. So slack taken up, bit of squish against that wall, pulling. It's not moving, break. I love it. Okay. Another thing worth noting is the super low bore axis. And when this thing is in your hand, the slide kind of disappears. So this kind of feels like if a P07 or a P09 and a Glock had a baby. Your hand gets really, really deep in that swell. And this texturing is, you can see, super random. None of the individual checkers are sharp, but the way that it works and my hands are pretty sweaty right now. I just got done handling snakes. Giggity. When I'm squeezing this, it's very, very solid in my hand. So none of them are, actually let me really grip the crap out of this thing. Squeezing as hard as I can, and it dimples you. So that's good. I like having positive traction on a firearm. So the grip is very gentle, but when squeezed, aggressive. Very well thought out with the way that they did this checkering. The mag release is pretty oversized, which I definitely like. Makes it for easy use. So the profile of this gun in your hand when you're actually really gripping down on it, slide pretty much sits parallel with the webbing of your hand. The slide doesn't look like it's super low, but in hand the bore axis feels incredibly low. So on to the serrations, and yeah, I'm kind of tracing my thumb a little bit, but there's no ammunition anywhere around me. Very, very sharp. Very sharp, which I like. And I really like this cutout for doing press checks. I mean, it's very comfy. Kind of a goofy looking gun, but I think it's kind of sexy in all of its goofiness. I rack slides up here anyways, just because I have gigantic hands. Anything that I can use to get a very, very positive and assertive grip on a gun to make sure that I'm actually putting that round into battery is definitely a win for me. So you can see that in my hand, my shooting profile, how I shoot, I pretty much swallow this thing up. And if I'm trying to get as much of the meat of my palm as you should be on this side of the gun and squeezing the crap out of it, thumbs forward, just naturally where I would go, you see how high my thumbs are, but I'm not actually touching or interfering with the slide. I'm going to take this hand away and show you. So it wouldn't have caused malfunction just doing my natural, this is where my hands go, kind of grip. You can see how deep I can get it into my hand, and it's perfect. Let's take it down. So on a gun that I've never field stripped before, the first thing I'll do is look for notches on the frame. There aren't any, so I'm going to assume that this, and I was right, is meant to be taken down with the slide in the rearward position. You can see that this side has a dimple, this side is a flat, so it only makes sense that it would go that way. So just use my thumbnail to get that out. Ooh, big win. So these are captive pins. Hell yeah. I initially wasn't too excited about the fact that it wasn't the Glock style takedown, but I will take a captive pin any day. That's really cool. Just simply for the fact that I have a tendency to lose everything. But the fact that you can't lose this because it is in fact captive is awesome. Now let's see if I have to pull the trigger to release the slide. I do. That's fine. Again, safety checking, always do that, you guys. Pull the trigger, slide comes off. Take a look at our frame. Very simple but weird looking. Look at that rail. What the hell is that? What is that doing? What are you doing with your life? Really weird. Not bad necessarily. I'm not sure that it's good, or I don't know. That's a first. But that's kind of cool that it's different and unique. So most of the action of what's going on is actually under this plate, it looks like, because I can't see much else going on as far as the slide stop goes. And then trigger, Oh, so trigger is actually really simple but pretty genius in that your trigger bar pushes back and acts upon your sear, which would in turn release your striker. And that is probably a lot to do with a really, really crisp trigger, which I really, really like. So you can see that there is a notch. So you can see that there's a notch right there that would hold the striker. And that's how it releases. Very cool. Not overdone, not underdone. It's kind of one of those, like, it's just right. Still kind of weird. But I see this being a definite winner. This, the frame itself is very firm, very sturdy feeling. It doesn't have any flex in any part of it, not even the magwell. I can't say that for the 509. I can't really say that for most Glocks. I can't say it for my FNX 45. My FNX, I can actually squeeze the magwell together so it touches. Could just be mine, but that's my experience with that one. So, very, very rigid. So it's obviously a form of glass polymer. Now, that could be bad simply for the fact that usually things that are sturdier tend to chip. So if this was dropped or stepped on, it might have a tendency to crack, but it's also pretty thick polymer. I don't see that happening. But enough of that, let's move on to the slide. So this slide reminds me of a mixture of a 1911 and an HK USP all kind of built into one. Along with the triple captive? It's not dual captive, there is 3 captive springs, so very firm, which is strange because racking the slide is very, very soft. Okay, what am I doing wrong? Push in, lift up. Okay, so, oh shit, something just fell out and I was not looking at what I did. We're gonna go back to that in a second. Okay, so it isn't triple captive, it's only dual. This whole thing is just a really, damn it, interesting design. I like it. I hope that the complexity of everything doesn't make it unreliable, because as we know, the whole keep it simple, stupid thing usually works in our favor. Okay, so this is just the trunnion from the barrel. I'm gonna guess this actually probably has to come off to be able to take the barrel out, but let's find out. Actually, I'm gonna try and figure out where this came from. Oh, very blatantly obvious. Uh-oh. What? Okay. Crisis averted. So I was worried about the orientation of this sweep. Actually, it really only makes sense that it would work that way. But it can, in fact, only go in one way. So that's not happening. However, this works just fine. So I'm going to guess we have to take this out. What? I see lugs. Oh, no I don't. Let's take a look at the barrel. Again, with the barrel. Really interesting concept. The way that the shelving works on here and the way that that interfaces with the slide. And then the way that the trunnion mates to the barrel. All just really, really cool. Again, going back to the whole, I hope it doesn't affect reliability because simplicity is your friend. So as far as rifling in the barrel goes, it's very standard. Hope you guys can see that. You probably can't. Take my word for it. Barrel is a pretty cool design, gotta say. So there's our lug. Let's look at the inside of the slide. And something noteworthy, the front sight post actually looks really reminiscent of a Glock screw. I am unverified as to whether or not that's actually the case, but it looks like a Glock front sight post. And actually, now that I'm looking at the dimensions, it does actually look really close to a Glock as well. So there is a possibility that you can use Glock sights on here. But I will find out, because if I'm going to actually run this gun, I would really like it to have night sights. So on the back plate we have a angled cut for that rail. Again, just another interesting take on things. I don't really have an opinion one way or another on it because I haven't shot this gun yet. So we have a gigantic oversized striker block, which I like seeing. So this whole bar from my thumbnail all the way back to here is our striker block. Huge and oversized, very welcomed, because nobody likes having to worry about what happens if I drop my gun. Thank you, SIG, for that one. So yeah, that's the inside of the slide. Machining is amazing as far as that goes. Let's see if I can figure out how to put this back together. So I'm going to guess the rounded side goes up. Okay. And then our lug, which can only go one way. Alright. Got ahead of myself there. I'm doing this through a viewfinder, so I'm probably making it look harder than it is. So I pulled the recoil assembly out a little bit to show you guys this. This little U-notch built into the barrel is neat because unlike a SIG, they don't make you guess where this part of the guide rod assembly is supposed to go. So when you're putting it back together, like your SIG could go back together like this. Boom. They make it very, very assertive, which I'm a fan of, because there's really only one way that this can go in, doesn't really move left or right, and it's just another bonus. So let's put this back together. Actually, before I put this back together, I wanted to point out that there is rails. These are steel rails the whole way back. It's almost a one piece. And this side is a one piece. So solid construction, 1911-esque. Okay. Oh, I just wasn't doing it hard enough. Giggity again. Boom. Okay, so again, last time. Trigger safety take up, actual take up, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Saw a little bit of squish there. Break. So minus that little bit of squish, this trigger is incredible. Leaps and bounds ahead of anything else out there right now that's striker fired, in my opinion. And yeah, that includes the PPQ, Glock, you name it. It's an incredible feeling trigger. And the fact that it's flat and not serrated, just ultimate win. So, the only question now is how well does it run? And how accurately does it group? I will be doing the shooting in a part 2. I have 3 other guns to get taken care of and unboxed for you guys. So, this is the Archon Type B. So initial thoughts are definitely, if you can find one, buy one. I think the map on this gun is $849.99. I paid just over $900 for this. I think it was like $936 and change, and I'm really happy with it. So before I post this video, I will take it out and I will shoot it. I'll let you know how many rounds I put through it, and how many rounds of what, how it ran, and whether or not that squish went away, and my final thoughts will be in the description below. As always, love you guys, thank you for watching. Like, share, subscribe. If you have any questions, please let me know. I try and get back to you guys as soon as I can. Hope you guys have a very Merry Christmas. Spend it with loved ones. And, you know, if you get the chance, spend it with some guns. Allow me to interrupt my outro really quick. I forgot to point this out. DE 2018, logo, Germany. So I was right on that. I actually really love this font. If you guys have noticed, I use this font a lot in doing my thumbnails for a lot of my videos. So it's fitting that it would be that. And for those of you who spent way too much time watching Nut and Fancy's videos and care too much about this, the forward serrations on the trigger guard are extremely assertive. They are smooth going up, but very grippy going down. And the texture of these is the exact same as these, so you can actually see this profile a little bit better. I personally don't really care. I mean, I do wrap my finger around this, but I'm more concerned with putting pressure with the palm of my hand against the side of the gun and getting as much purchase on the weapon as possible. So this and this kind of irrelevant to me. But those of you who shoot like a cool guy, like Nut and Fancy, with this bullshit, which lends to not a lot of your hand actually being... I'm not going to patronize you guys for shooting how you do. If you do and it works for you, great. I think it's stupid. See ya.